Okay, so we will study single phase transformer. You already know that the single phase voltage can be shown like this. This is V of t, and with respect to omega t, the single phase voltage can be like this, or the single phase current can also be like this. Means there is one voltage with respect to ground, or there is single phase current that can be flown through one branch, okay, through the branch of any given electric circuit, or that circuit will be single phase AC circuit. Yeah. So what is the single phase why it is called as single phase? Because this is the transformer. Let us say this is the transformer. This system is the transformer. These two are the input terminals, and these two are the output terminals. Okay. So in the input terminals, we will provide single phase supply, single phase AC supply, plus and minus. This terminal will be the reference terminal or grounded terminal. Okay, and this will be your live conductor or the line conductor. So with respect to that, the input voltage will be single phase AC supply, like this. The waveform of VT will be like this, and from these two terminals we will get the output voltage V output with respect to omega t, and the input current will flow like this I1, and output current can be collected from the output terminals, and across these two output terminals we will connect the load, and load will be of impedance type. Means impedance is what? R plus minus jx, where R is the real part, and that will show the resistive part of the impedance Z, and this x can be either xl or xc. So plus minus will be there. If it is plus, then it will be xl jxl inductive part. If it is minus, then jxc will be there. That will be the capacitive part. That is the load connected across the output terminals of the transformer. Okay, so what transformer will do? The transformer transforms the energy from one circuit to another circuit. Let us say this is the primary circuit and this is the secondary circuit. Okay, means primary circuit is the input side, and secondary circuit can be the output, or vice versa can also happen. Means you can apply your input to the secondary circuit and you can get the output through the primary circuit. Okay, so these two are separate circuits, and these primary windings or secondary windings are mutually coupled with the laminated core. Okay, so that if we apply the input will be the AC source. So if we apply the input, so input current will flow through this circuit, such that the input current can be collected from here, and you will get the output voltage across these two terminals, plus minus V2 or V out, okay, with respect to time t or omega t. So these two circuits are isolated, but these two circuits are mutually coupled with each other through the magnetic field or magnetic field of lines, and that is called as flux. Okay, so this will work based on the principle of electromagnetic induction, and that was given by Faraday. Okay, so the energy will be transformed from this side to that side by using the law. What is that? Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So electromagnetic induction will happen, means when we apply the voltage at this side, plus minus V1, so I1 will flow such that if I1 is flowing in this direction, let us say I1 is flowing such that there will be induced EMF across these two coils, and that is called as E1. And how E1 is coming? E1 is directly proportional to d phi by dt. And why phi is coming? Because of the flow of I1, okay, through the primary winding. As the phi flows through this circuit, means the laminated core is a closed magnetic path. That's why phi magnetic flux is flowing in this direction. So these flux is associated with this winding also. So because of that, E2 will be induced. E2 will be induced because of the mutual inductance. Okay, M di1 by dt, or flux cutting will be there through the through the secondary winding, and hence you will get the induced EMF E2. So when we close this circuit, means when this circuit is closed by connecting a load across these two terminals, so there will be the flow of current. Okay, the flow of current will be like this, means I2 will not be zero when the circuit is closed, means there is the written path, and that is connected to the ground, such that there will be the terminal voltage, and that is called as V2, and the terminal current will be I2. Okay, so that is the principle. This is how energy is transformed from one circuit to another circuit uh, by electromagnetic induction. And this occurs through the electromagnetic induction, yes, and it is known as the efficient voltage converter, because let us say this is V1 and this is V2. So sometimes V1 can be greater than V2, and that will be called as a step down transformer. Okay, and when V1 is less than V2 means step up transformer. Okay, because the output voltage is greater than the input voltage, means the voltage level is high compared to this side. So there are two types of transformer, step up or step down. Okay, and a transformer consists of two windings. Primary, this is the primary winding, and this is the secondary winding. Primary winding has number of turns as N1, and secondary winding has number of turns as N2. So namely primary and secondary windings. Okay, then there are two types of transformers. Step up, in case of step up, V1 will be less than V2, and step down, V1 will be greater than V2. Okay, so these are the fundamental things regarding a transformer. Now, Vp is the V1 only, means that is the primary voltage, and Vs is the secondary voltage, and that will be your V2. That is Vp, and this is Vs. Vs is V2 and Vp is V1, and across these two terminals E1 will be there, because in between resistance or inductance means Z1 will be there, so Vp is not equals to even. Likewise, this is E2, and here R2X2 will be there. Okay, so that's why Vs will not be equals to exact E2, means you have to apply the KVL equation through this loop. So if I1 is flowing in this direction, so Vp will be equals to I1 Z1 plus even sum of these voltages equals to the applied voltage, and here E2 will be equals to what? I2 Z2 plus Vs. Okay, so these are the equations. So how to define the turns ratio or transformation ratio? This is called as transformation ratio. In case of a ideal transformer means no losses will be there in the core and copper wires. This is the core. So core will have magnetic core losses. Okay, and these are the windings, copper windings. Obviously, copper windings will also have copper losses. So, in case of ideal transformer, there will be no losses. We assume that. Then, in case of ideal transformer, E1 will be equals to V1 and E2 will be equals to V2, such that the transformation ratio, okay, is called the transformation ratio. That will be V2 by V1, and that is equals to N2 by N1. N2 by N1 is called as turns ratio. Okay, this is turns ratio, and or transformation ratio, and that is also equal to I1 by I2. You please remember that, and I have given these definitions. Okay, then what is the working principle of a transformer? Any changes in power, I mean voltage drop or conversion? Yeah. Yeah, voltage drop will be there if it is practical transformer. Okay, let us say this is ideal transformer. First, these are the coils. This is primary coil, and this is secondary coil. Okay, and here we are applying V1, and from here we will get V2. V2. So I1 will flow, and we will collect I2 from here. In case of ideal transformer, the resistance, okay, here resistance will be there, resistance and leakage reactance R1 and X1. and here R2 and X2, because these are the copper wire, so copper wire will have resistance, and as flux is flowing, okay, so because of the flux, leakage flux, your leakage reactance will be there, okay, so these two are the elements, such that you will get Z1 equals to R1 plus JX1, and Z2 equals to R2 plus JX2, okay. But if it is the ideal transformer, means R1 will be 0, as R1 is 0 means copper losses will be 0, because copper loss is what, I1 square R1, and that will be 0, and X1 will be 0, means there will be no leakage, so complete flux will flow through this path only, through the intended path only, and that's why leakage flux phi leakage will be 0, that's why XL1 will be 0, okay. And yeah, that's why V1 will be equals to E1. Otherwise, if it is practical transformer, okay, in case of practical transformer, R1 will not be equals to 0, XL1 will not be equal to 0, then KVL equation in primary side will be what, in this loop, okay, V1 minus R1 I1 minus JXL1 I1 minus E1 equal to 0, means V1 equals to R1 plus JXL1 I1 plus E1. In case of practical transformer, V1 is not equals to E1, but in case of ideal transformer, V1 equals to E1 and V2 equals to E2, such that the transformation ratio will be V2 by V1, okay. So this is the thing, I think that is clear now. Yes, Sai Kiran Reddy, have you understood? So the voltage drop across this Z1, and that is the voltage drop, okay. I1 Z1 is the voltage drop, and I2 Z2 is the voltage drop. E1 and E2 are the induced EMFs that will induced across primary winding and secondary winding, and V1 and V2 are the terminal voltages at primary and secondary. Yeah, please reply, have you understood? Okay, you please reply. I am continuing with the next topic. So, how a transformer works? Okay, I already told you that this is the primary coil. Okay, and it has number of turns as N1. This is the secondary coil. This has number of turns as N2, and this total circuit is what, primary circuit, and this circuit is secondary circuit, and across these two terminals we will connect the load, and load will be of zl equals to rl plus jxl. Generally we prefer inductive type load, because most of the loads are of inductive type, because in our homes or in industries we use induction motor will be of inductive type, okay, and that's why most of the loads are inductive type, rl plus jxl, okay. This is the common load. So how a transformer works? Transformer works on the Faraday's law of mutual induction, means E directly proportional of d phi by dt. Induced EMF will be there across primary and secondary winding. Second thing is that the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction states that when a change takes place in the magnetic flux, obviously d phi by dt is there, means phi is varying with respect to time, which is linked with a circuit, either primary or secondary, then an electromotive force current will induced in the circuit, that we already understood. Then the transformer consists of two separate windings placed over the laminated steel core. Laminated steel core is used in order laminated why laminated, because we want to reduce the core losses, and that's why we have to go for the laminated steel core. Then the winding to which AC supply is connected is called primary, and to which the load is connected is called the secondary winding. Then it works on the alternating current only, because the alternating flux is required for the mutual induction between the two winding, as there is no rotating part, so obviously coil cannot rotate, okay. Then how we will get the variation of flux, as there are just static parts only. In order to get the d phi by dt change. Okay, means the flux is varying, so we have to get alternating flux with that is varying with respect to time. So how we will get flux? In order to get the alternating flux, we have to supply the alternating current like this, then only we will get the alternating flux. Okay, so this is the thing. Then when the AC supply is given to the primary winding with a certain voltage, that is the V1, an alternating flux sets up in the core. Yeah, if you apply the primary voltage, so I primary will flow through this circuit such that there will be the flow of the flux, and that will be in alternating nature, and this flux will be linked with this coil also, and because of that, E2 will be induced in the secondary coil because of mutual inductance, okay, between these two coils. Then which links with the secondary winding, and as a result of it an EMF is induced in it, and that is called as mutually induced EMF, and that will be the E2. Okay, and the direction of this induced EMF is opposite to the applied voltage. Obviously E2 will oppose its cause according to the Lenz's law, so it will oppose what? V1, because V1 has induced. First of all, we applied V1, and because of that, I1 will flow. Because of I1, Phi1 will come, and because of Phi1, E2 will come, and E2, because of E2, what will come? I2 and V2. When the circuit is closed, then only I2 will flow. Okay. Otherwise, there will be no flow of current when the circuit is open circuited at these ends. So that is the working principle of a transformer. Please give basic formula before initiation. We have less knowledge on DE. I mean basic explanation on transformer and its mechanics overall view. Yeah, that's why I started with the working principle and the parts of transformer. After that, I will give you some formula, because you need to know just few things. If I'll go into detail now, so that will be means related to in-depth knowledge of the transformer. That I don't want to means extend the class, because these things are sufficient to know in order to solve the questions. I think, yeah, I told you about the primary, secondary coils. What are the resistances? What is the leakage? Okay, and how the current is flowing through primary and secondary windings, and how we are getting the induced EMFs. What is the basic principle? There are so many concepts, but I'm not going to tell you because I think that will be too much for you. Yes, I can and ready. Are you able to understand? Now I'm going to show you just equivalent circuit, and after that we will go for the calculations. Did you understand the basic working principle and mechanics, overall mechanics that you are asking right now? So now, yeah, if it is ideal transformer, then I already told you that R and X will be zero, means there will be no copper loss and no core loss, etc. Okay, or no leakage. So R1 X1 will be 0, R2 X2 will be 0. So this part only will be your ideal transformer, means V1 will be equals to E1 and V2 will be equals to E2 in case of ideal transformer. So that is the equivalent circuit of an ideal transformer. But uh, in practicality, the things will be different. So we will go for the practical transformer. Okay. So this whole circuit is for the practical transformer, means there will be resistance, leakage reactance in the secondary side, and resistance of the secondary winding. These two are the voltages. Okay, this is the source, AC source that we have to apply. This is the source current, and this is the terminal voltage, this is the terminal current, and we have to connect our load at this side. Load will be of R plus jx, right? And this branch, this is called as the shunt branch. These are the series branches, okay, or series parameters at the primary side and in the secondary side, series parameters. Yeah, but this is called as the shunt branch, and that is related to the magnetization or core, iron core, or core losses. Okay. and I naught is called as the no load current. I naught is no load current because in order to set up the flux through this iron core, we need a small amount of current I1. Okay, at no load, when the load is not connected. At no load condition, first of all, we have to magnetize this core. Okay, in order to set up the sufficient amount of flux, and that is called as phi naught. At no load condition means I will be I naught, such that there will be the magnetization of core and there will be the flux that is set up in this core. After that you will get the induced EMF E1 and E2. So after some time you can connect your load, and that is called as no load current. That will be 2 to 5% of the full load current. Okay, what is full load current? Means that is the rated current. I full load equals to I rated, that your load requires. You just know about these things only. So we will use R1 in order to calculate the copper loss at the primary winding. R2 will be used to calculate the copper loss at the secondary winding. XL1 and XL2 will be used to get the leakage. Okay, and this is the shunt branch. These two are used to get the eddy current loss and hysteresis loss, and these two are the iron core losses. Okay, core losses. That's it. And N1 is to N2 is what? Turns ratio. Okay. And these two are the dots. Means if this dot represents the positive terminal, then at the same time this dot will represent the positive terminal at the secondary side. These are the basic things that you have to know. And sometimes, as you know that there is an isolation between these two windings by the core. Okay, these two are isolated by an iron core. Okay, so this circuit is different, that circuit is different, but we want to refer the things, means these parameters to this side or these parameters to that side. So in order to refer these things either to primary side or to secondary side, we have to get the turns ratio n1 by n2, and that is called as turns ratio A. Such that, let us say if it is a step up transformer, means V1 is less than V2. Okay, V2 is more than V1. Then when we want to refer R1 to this side, R1 dash. So how to calculate R1 dash? R1 into A square, or let us say when V1 is less than V2, then obviously N1 is less than N2. Okay, that is the turns ratio. Then you can calculate it like this. We will see the formula, but first of all, I am telling you about the concepts first. Okay, so how to get the EMF equation? You know that E directly proportional to d phi by dt. So after putting this value, and you know that here the flux is alternating type, so obviously it will follow the sine curve. Okay, so after putting these values, I am giving you the direct equation of an EMF, and that will be the RMS value of the induced EMF at primary side, and that will be what? Capital E1, and that is the even RMS value. Remember that it is the RMS value. Okay, and that is 4.445. Sorry, F is the frequency, and phi m into N1 at the primary side. Similarly, at the secondary side, E2 will be what? This much. First, that you can calculate this ratio that much, and K is called as the transformation ratio. So in case 1, in case of a step up transformer, N2 will be more than N1, such that K will be greater than 1, and in case of step down transformer, N2 will be less than N1, because as the number of turns will be more, then obviously induced EMF will be more. Okay, induced EMF is more means what? Voltage is more. That is the concept. Now coming to the formula part. So can you give me a confirmation text that you understood these things? Yeah. in order to get this resistance to that side, means let us say this is the step up transformer. Okay, so sorry, step up transformer means V2 is greater than V1, so you are getting higher voltage with respect to the source voltage. Okay, then how to get the referred value of R1 to this side? That will be R1 into N2 by N1 whole square, and that is the formula. Means you will get more resistance as compared to the primary side, because at the secondary side number of turns will be more. That is the thing. Okay, now coming to the formula part. Yeah, what is the transformation ratio? Yeah, transformation ratio will be helpful here, and that is E1 by E2, K equals to E1 by E2 equal to N1 by N2. Okay, that is the ratio that will transform the impedance from this side to that side, or from this side to that side. What are the formula? First of all, we want to calculate the equivalent resistance of the transformer windings. Okay, then let us say, for example, we want to calculate the equivalent resistance of the transformer from the primary side. So we have to we have to refer the secondary side resistance to the primary side. Okay, then only we will be able to calculate the overall resistance that is offered by both the windings. So how to calculate R01? That is the equivalent resistance of the transformer from primary side. Okay, so that will be R1 plus R2 dash, means R2 that is at the secondary side, we have to refer it to the primary side, and that will come like this. The total resistance at the primary side will be what? R1 plus R2 dash, because these two are connected in series. Okay, and how to calculate R2 dash? R2 dash will be R2 divided by K2 square, sorry, K square. Depending upon the type of the transformer, K value will be decided. Okay, means K can be greater than 1 or less than 1, that will be decided. Means if it is step up transformer or step down transformer, accordingly you will get the values. Likewise, if you want to calculate R02, and that is the equivalent resistance of the transformer if we refer the secondary side, then in the secondary side it will be R2 plus R1 dash, means we have to get the reflected resistance from the primary side. Okay, and R1 dash will be what? R1 K square. These are the formula. If they'll ask to calculate the equivalent resistance of the transformer windings, then you can refer these formula. Okay, likewise you can calculate for the leakage reactances, and these are X1 and X2, XL1 or XL2. Okay, and yes, you can calculate it like this. Mean you have to refer it like this only, same as the resistance. Okay, then the total impedance of the transformer windings will be what? Under root R square plus X square, means under root of real part square plus imaginary part square. That is the formula to calculate the impedance, any impedance. Z1 is the primary impedance of the primary winding only, means you want to get the total impedance of primary winding. Likewise, Z2 will be for the secondary winding. But what is Z01? When we want to refer both primary and secondary windings impedance, okay, at the primary side only. This is R1, this is X1, this is R2 dash, and this is X2 dash. Okay, so that will be your Z1. Series combination of these four impedance will be Z01. And how to calculate Z01? That will be the under root R01 square plus X01 square. Okay, and what is R01? This. Then how to calculate input and output voltage equations. This is input voltage and this is the output voltage. So in case of a practical transformer, obviously this is here R1 is 0, X1 is 0, here R2 is 0, X2 is 0 in case of an ideal transformer. But in case of practical transformer, obviously R and X will be non-zero. So likewise you can calculate the total input and output voltages. Let us apply KVL equation here. Okay, so V1 when you are going to this side, V1 minus R1 I1 minus J X1 I1 minus E1 will be 0. So V1 equals to total voltage drop plus induced EMF E1. Okay. Likewise, you can calculate for that also. If the current is flowing in this direction, this is plus, this is minus. So obviously, current will come to from this direction. Okay, and it will go like this I2. So this will be induced EMF E2. Okay, and these are R2 and X2. So if you apply KVL equation here, you are going into this direction. Okay, and this is plus, this is minus. So minus V2 minus what? E2 minus I2 R2 minus J I2 X2 equal to 0. Okay, so you can get this equation after applying the KVL equations at primary side and secondary side. Now, coming to the losses, one kind of loss will be there, what? Core losses. In core losses, there will be two types: hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. First of all, let us see core losses, core or iron loss. So what is core loss? The losses that occur inside the core, because flux is flowing through the core. Obviously, core is magnetized, so there will be hysteresis or eddy current loss due to the magnetization and demagnetization of the core. And this is the formula. You can remember the formula directly. Okay. B max is the flux density, F is the frequency, and V is the voltage, and WH is what? Hysteresis loss, and the unit will be in watt. Then eddy current loss due to the induced EMF produced inside the core causes the flow of eddy current, because the core is not an ideal magnetic material. So obviously there will be core losses due to the flow of eddy current. I eddy will flow through the core itself. Okay, like this I eddy, and because of that the eddy current loss will happen, and the unit will be in watt only. This is the formula. Okay, and here eta and here Ke are the parameters. Then coming to the copper losses, the loss due to the resistance of the winding. So the total copper loss will be what? I1 square R1, that will happen in the primary side, and I2 square R2, that will happen in the secondary side. Okay, or I1 square R01 and I2 square R02. This will be OR, because you are considering both the resistances at the primary side or both the resistances at the secondary side. So these are the things. Here WH is hysteresis loss, W is the eddy current loss, eta is what? Steinmetz hysteresis coefficient, that will be given in the question. Ke is the eddy current constant, that will also be given in the question itself. Bmax is the maximum flux density. Okay, B and F is the frequency of the flux, that will also be given. V is the volume of the core, and T is the thickness of the lamination, because the core is laminated like this. These sheets will be there, and these sheets will be stacked. Okay, like this. So these are thin laminated core. Likewise, you can make your core material. T represents the thickness of each lamination. Understood these things? Next, voltage regulation. What is a voltage regulation? Voltage regulation is the ratio of no load voltage minus full load voltage with respect to the no load voltage. Means when the transformer is not loaded. Means what? These two terminals are open circuited. So your V2 will be the no load voltage. Okay. But when you connect the load, when the load is connected, then the V2 across these two terminals will be the full load voltage. What is the full load voltage? When the current I2 will be the full load current, means the maximum rated capacity uh, through which it can flow. Means we are utilizing the transformer to its full capacity, such that there will be the rated flow of current through the secondary winding, and the voltage across the load terminals will be the rated voltage, and that is called as the full load voltage. Okay, so voltage regulation is the measure So we can have regulation up or regulation down, but generally we prefer this regulation down because we want to know about this only. So what is the percentage regulation when it is down? So regulation down is V2 0 minus V2 divided by V2 0. So what is V2 0? This is the no load secondary voltage, because the no load voltage V no load will be the V maximum offered by the transformer, and how much fluctuation will be there between V full load and V no load, because when the transformer is loaded, then obviously voltage drop will be there, and hence V no load will be more than V full load, because the V full load will be what? V no load minus V drop. Okay, that's what we want to measure through the percentage regulation down. Okay, then regulation in primary voltage terms and in secondary voltage terms, that you can see by yourself. So this is the thing, and we are generally interested in this one, regulation down. You heard that new regulations are framed instead of CEA 2010. Can you please elaborate your question? I'm not able to understand. As per my knowledge, CEA regulations will be related to the spare transformer. Yeah, so in every substation, they will provide some backup, you can say backup transformers. Do you want to know about the backup transformers? Why we are going to use that backup transformer? Why is it single phase or etc.? Otherwise, you can send your doubt question to the group. Then I will be able to answer that. Okay, you please send the question in detail. As we have 15 minutes left, so I'm continuing with the topics. Okay. So how to calculate percentage resistance, reactance, and impedance? If they will ask to calculate the percentage reactance, resistance, or impedance, then you can follow these formulas. Okay. For example, how to calculate the percentage resistance at the full load? Full load means I full load and V full load. I full load with, is what? I rated. I rated means what? The maximum current that can flow through the copper windings, and V full load is the V rated. Okay, then how to calculate percentage resistance? I1 R01 divided by V1 into 100%. R01 is the equivalent resistance value referred at the primary side. Okay, and that will represent the percentage copper loss at the full load. Likewise, you can calculate the percentage reactance or percentage impedance at the full load. And how to calculate percentage impedance directly? If you have the percentage resistance value and percentage reactance value by using this formula, means you can apply this formula directly if you have these two values. Okay. Then next is transformer efficiency. We want to know about the efficient performance of the transformer, means how much efficient it is. Okay, and that can be measured in terms of transformer efficiency. So comparing the system output with the input will confirm the transformer efficiency. Okay, and the system is called better when its efficiency is high. Obviously you already know about that. Then how to calculate the efficiency? That is output power by input power. Okay, means output with respect to input and in order to get the percentage value you have to multiply with the 100, and that will give you percentage efficiency. Otherwise you can also calculate it like this: P output divided by as input equals to P output plus P losses. P losses means what? Copper loss plus core loss. So P output divided by P output plus P total losses, that will be the input into 100. So you can write it like this also. Next, how to calculate using the formula. How to calculate P RMS? You know that VRMS, IRMS cos phi. Okay, as your load is connected at the secondary side, so you have to refer this VRMS to IRMS to cos phi 2. Cos phi 2 is what? The power factor of the load at the load side. Okay, so this is the formula: V2 I2 cos phi. Sometimes we write it like cos theta also, divided by, this is also output, V2 I2 cos phi plus core loss PC plus PCU, that is the copper loss into 100. Okay. Yeah, next at the full load. Yeah, at the full load, yeah, this is the same formula. X is the parameter. At the full load it will be 1, and at no load it will be 0, and between any load it will be between 0 to 1. This represents no load, this will represent the full load, and at half load x will be zero point 0.5. Okay, so we have to multiply x here. So at full load x will be 1, and obviously with the copper loss you have to multiply x square into P copper loss, because copper loss depends on the current or full load current. If it is not at the full load condition, let us say x is at the half load condition, then what will be the PCU at half load condition? That will be x square PCU, and that will be zero point 0.5 square into PCU at the full load. Okay, so that is the thing. Yeah. So efficiency at any load, how to calculate? At any load means there will be x parameter, and its value will vary between 0 and 1. Okay. So at any load, let us say mm, 50% of load. So what will be the value of x? 50 by 100, and that will be your zero point 0.5. Okay. X can be zero point 0.3 also. That is the 30% load condition. Then how to calculate the efficiency? Efficiency will be calculated as x into full load kVA. Full load kVA or VRMS into IRMS. VRMS, IRMS is called kVA, and that is the apparent power, and its unit is volt ampere. If it is multiplied by 10 to the power 3, then it will be called as kilovolt ampere. Okay, so this is the same thing, means x V2 I2 cos phi divided by x V2 I2 cos phi plus the total losses, and x is the ratio of actual load to the full load, means x is the ratio of actual load obviously divided by full load. Okay, then what is the condition for the efficiency? Condition for the efficiency is what? Copper loss must be equal to the iron loss. You please remember this thing. I'm not going into the detail. Okay, you just need to remember this thing. And what is that? Copper loss WCU equals to W iron. Iron losses will be called as the constant losses. Okay, but the copper losses will be variable loss, because this depends on x value, and x depends on what? Current value. I full load current value. So at this condition, WCU will be what? I1 square R01 or I2 square R01, and WI iron loss will be the combination of hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. So these two will be equal in case of condition for maximum efficiency. So you just put these values. So what will you get? Here you please put these two values. Okay. Otherwise, if they will ask you what is the load current, that is the I2, okay, at the condition of maximum efficiency, then you can use this formula directly. I2 equals to under root Wi is the total iron loss divided by R02. What is R02? That is the equivalent resistance referred at the secondary side. So these formula are sufficient to solve the questions. You can just revise the things and then you can solve the problems. Okay.
To watch the complete video, download Mining Gyan 2.0 app from the Play Store and enjoy seamless learning with Mining Gyan 2.0.